Yo. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Raw Daddy Hour, brought to you by yours truly, Raw Daddy, the Black Hippie. Grandma, we got one today. I'm joined today by my brothers, Trav, Myles, back on the scene. I want to thank y'all for coming through. And we're going to hop right into this topic, man. Today, we as millennial black men, we're going to be giving our thoughts on marriage. Are we for it? Are we against it? We're going to try to break down a little bit the intricacies that we feel go into marriage, why we're for it or why we're against it. So, Myles, let me kick it off to you first, man. How do you feel about marriage?
First and foremost, I am for marriage. I think my generation has lost the true concept of what marriage actually means. So even myself, I'm in search for what the true meaning is. And I really do look forward to one day participating in a beautiful tradition. But I do want to participate in it when the true meaning is brought to light and not just do it because of a trend, basically.
So I'm for marriage. I'm just not for the contract part. And I may be a little passionate about it because, you know what I mean? I think that it is ridiculous in this day and time that we need the approval of the government to validate a union between two people. We didn't need the government to validate our love. We didn't need the government to validate us being boyfriend and girlfriend. You don't even need that to move in together. You don't need any of that. So why is it that we go that extra step? You know what I mean? Because again, that's the conditioning of the mind, that anything that you do is not solid. It's not validated unless you have, the government's approval. I could go Hotep and be like, why do you need white man's paperwork?
Don't sign the contract. That is how I feel. I am not for marriage at all, especially not the contractual agreement that it is. I think people need to understand that marriage is a contractual agreement. For a lot of people, it's a business decision. Like, let's think about that. For a lot of cultures, marriage is a business decision. And I'm also not religious, so it has no religious ties to me. It has no religious meaning for me. We could go deeper into why I don't fully believe in monogamy. I believe some people can do it. I don't believe that the majority are capable of being monogamous. And just the simple fact that our wants, needs, and desires change so drastically every decade or so. And it's getting sooner now because we're getting so much information so much faster. We're changing who we are every 2 years. Every 2 to 4 years, we're a whole new person. So that for me doesn't sit well. You will never see me walking down an aisle unless it is to hold a camera to record someone else walking down the aisle for their big day. I will not be getting married. If you see that I'm getting married, know this right now on this podcast. I'm in danger and I need your help. Okay? So Myles, let's kick it to you first, man. Let's kind of talk about, why do you feel that millennials have kind of lost their way? What do you feel it is that we have lost in that true meaning of marriage?
So my perspective, it's just only based off, I get a lot of information from my environment, from the people I hang around, my crowd, and my work life is always environments where I can kind of be around different people. I always try to be around different types of crowds when I'm working. That way I can kind of get a feel of different, environments. So I do a lot of talking. I kind of see how people operate in their relationships. Even at the gym, I worked at Lifetime. I seen how a lot of young guys were coming in their 20s married. And I would use this time to ask them questions like, why are you, what made you take such a step so young, so early? Why are you so confident that was just the right decision? You know what I mean? Not taking anything from them, just want to know. And some guys, it was just the answers that they gave me was, it wasn't, I don't know I guess to me it wasn't fulfilling enough, but it was just, when you know. All right, that's, all right. But overall, man, I don't feel like my generation has that true meaning. And the reason I feel that is even my friends, my family, I don't I don't, like you said, it's mainly like a business. People are just kind of doing it for their best interest. It's not for the interest or for the sake of true love. You know, it's not like on a Romeo or Juliet type thing where, you know, it's just, I just really love this person. I don't care about tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's never that. It's always, you know, a way for that person to benefit in the long run. Rather if it's just being envied by their friends or their peers. You know what I mean? If getting married to this person this year and having them photos posted this year is going to do that, then why not? They're not even thinking about, you know, I might have to be with this person for the rest of my life. Nah, they don't think like that, especially in America. You know, divorce will always back you up, right?
Man. So, Trav, you have an interesting story because as we, or you don't know, but as we know, you've been engaged 3 times. So you have a little bit of a different perspective because you've been close, right? You almost crossed enemy lines, right? You've been to war, right? You've been deployed. Like you've seen battle, right? So what was it about those scenarios, or let's flip it this way. What could you say to people who are thinking about getting engaged? Like, what do they need to know? Like, what boxes do they need to check before they just, before they dive in?
Bro, I'm gonna keep going back to it. Know the difference between your wants and needs. I can't discredit anybody who's wrote a marriage book or a relationship book, but for y'all, men and women who are investing in these books, please always keep in mind that this is what worked for their relationship. It's not going to be the same dynamic for you. So if you are truly courting someone, you need to evaluate them. Understand, remember, your needs are more important than your wants. In order for you to breathe, you need air. Now, if you say that you want, your wants are not necessary. They're not necessities. All right? That was my problem. I prioritized my wants over my needs. And I ended up wasting time. You know what I mean? Because I got all excited in the glitz and the glam when, I would buy the rings and they post it. You know what I mean? They'll be like, oh my God. And then all their friends, oh my God, girl, he asked you, oh, all this and that, like so many likes and everything. I got into that. I was like, yeah. So then here we go. We started talking about, when I want to get on the plans of talking about the marriage. Oh, I ain't in a rush for that. Huh? I thought I didn't just, buy this ring to be like, you can just hold on to it. Because that's what I thought the symbol, like the ring is symbolic. But, looking back and I reevaluated everything, like I said, I put my wants over my needs. I wanted to be with, each time I wanted to be with these women, but they weren't what I needed. They weren't great at communicating. I wasn't great at communicating, but we weren't trying to help each other be better at communicating. If I needed them to be there for me, they weren't there, but I would be there for them. I could do everything in those relationships, be everything that you asked for, that you wanted, but I couldn't get that in return. So for people out there, you need to understand that, men, women, whatever, they don't need a degree for for you to be with them. They don't need to have a 6-figure salary job or whatever it is for you to be with them. What you need is someone who will love you, care for you, be there for you. Always make sure that, you have everything it is that you need to be successful, and you do the same for them. It can't be one-sided. If it's going to be one-sided, you're in a whole lot of trouble. So that's what I would say. Remember the difference between your wants and needs, and stop putting so much pressure on, your significant other, and stop putting so much pressure on yourself. That is the whole that's the whole point of the process of getting to know each other. Don't try to cheat the process.
So that kind of brings me to something that, Myles, you alluded to in a podcast earlier about investing in yourself. So if you could just talk a little bit about how important it is for each person to kind of come in as a fully functioning, fully fleshed out version of themselves in order for that union to make sense.
So I did something a little different with the mother of my child. Instead of us, we reached a point, I guess, in our relationship to where, to me, it felt like, since we're over 25, we had a kid. It's like, automatically, let's go ahead and just get married next. Not really taking in consideration, are we both really ready for marriage? Yeah, if you look at everything, it looked like we were ready, but are we ready in here for marriage? Do we really understand it yet? And like, how are we as individuals? Like, I really cared for that because, like I told you before, when we spoke before, my whole mindset is the perspective that you have for the next generation. So for our daughter, I want her to see the best imitations of her parents so she can know how to walk in the best light. And the only way for us to do that is for us to be fulfilled ourselves. You know what I mean? Level-headed ourselves, balanced ourselves. And it's work to be done. We're only in our 20s. Just because you graduated college and you made it through a few breakups and now you found, a guy who got a decent job and you just bought a house, it's not all done yet. Just because you're 26 and you're 27 and you got a nice little job and everything is kind of smoothing out, it's not. You're still learning. You're still developing yourself. And I think it's real easy to forget about yourself and start focusing on everything around you, and you stop the process on developing yourself. And it's real easy to do that now. And I feel like me and the mother of my child, I actually had to sit down and we had a long conversation. It was a long process, but I thought it was important for both of us to invest in growing ourselves, invest in developing who she is as a woman and what type of woman do she want to still grow to be. You know what I mean? Where do you want to see yourself 40 years from now? Yeah, you want to be a wife, but a wife and what else? A mother of what else? Are you a creator? Did you invent something? What did you, as a woman that walked this earth for this many years, do besides bear children and take care of a man? Like, I want you to leave this planet tired because you did everything that you wanted to do, not stuff that you think you had to do because it was the role. One thing I used to just always tell her all the time is like, kind of like, I know it's so easy now that you're a mother and then you see me to just automatically think, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? No, don't do that. You know what I mean? Go look in the mirror, ask yourself first, what do you need first? Because you can't take care of nobody if you're not okay. So you guys don't get me wrong. It's not something that you can just do for any relationship. It's a lot of communication, and for them to kind of think that you're crazy. Because I know I probably got that image a lot, but all I can ever do was speak from what was in my heart, and what was in my heart was I want you to be better as a person for you. I don't want you to ever feel like I stopped you for anything because of a sacrifice that you made years ago and not even realize you just did it because it just seemed like it was the next. Like, that's a big next that you over here just trying to throw out there, you know what I mean? So overall, man, I think people in my generation, I think we just need to take the time out. If you're a parent, man, that's fine. Your life's not over. You can still develop yourself. You still need work. You still need work. You still need work on, man. I'm just gonna put it like that. I'm sorry. I can get real passionate about this because I know people look over themselves. They look over themselves and they just look at what you need, and I got this business. But what do you need, man? Like, do you need a book to help you? Like, do you need a video? Because it comes in different forms. It's not just one thing for everybody. but find out what you need and develop it yourself, because I promise you, rather a year from now, it could take a year. We both can just be lining up, matching energy, but we took 12 months to find ourselves. We in a different light now. We're parents, or we're in a different light now. We're grown-ups with degrees. You know what I mean? We're not just in dorm rooms all day no more, just, linking up, hanging out, and then, sleeping together. We were kids then when we were talking. Now we're adults. Let's see how the conversation flows now. You know what I mean? You're not just talking to a guy who at the dorm playing 2K. Nah, I just had to go pay my lights, and now I'm about to go check on this house that I'm trying to get. Like, I'm doing stuff as a man by myself. You know what I mean? I'm not leaving this to a woman to do. You know what I mean? So it's just how I see myself and how I want other people to see me. And I believe really, really big in investing in yourself and pushing yourself to the best that you can be.
Yeah, I mean, so even though I'm not for marriage, I still believe that if someone's going to enter into that type of agreement or that type of situation, that you come in fully understanding what it is that you're signing yourself up for. Because at the end of the day, like you've alluded to before, I mean, this is for life. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times, a lot of cultures, this is a one-time shot. You don't get to divorce. This is it. When you set those vows, right, that's coming from deep within, and you are held to that standard because you've laid out that blueprint. So for me, I love the sentiment of coming in as a fully functioning adult, because like Trav said, you got to be able to get to know this person and understand whether or not this is someone that you can grow with. Because if you're just growing and they're not growing, that's going to cause a humongous rift. A humongous rift. And quite frankly, one of the leading causes of divorce is money. So if you're, like a business owner, you're trying to, you hustling and bustling trying to get this going, and you're dating someone that's dead lazy, but y'all are just so attracted to each other, so infatuated with each other, that you never took the time to explore what that dynamic is. Oh yeah, give it some time. You go ahead and get married. Give it some time. That shit is going to rip y'all apart.
It's like planting a seed, and it's gonna grow.
Yeah, yeah.
You probably didn't see it today, but because you didn't choose to address it. You know what I mean? You just chilled on it. All right, it's gonna catch up on you. It's
kind of like the analogy of the tiger cub. It's real cute when it's a tiger cub. Like, your problem is real cute when it's not that big, but when that thing grows into a full-grown tiger and is hungry, it's nothing you can do about it. What you gonna do about a tiger that's hungry, trying to eat you? Not a damn thing. You're just gonna be eaten. That's it. So, you know what I mean? Coming in as a fully functioning individual, both of you, because you do not have the power to make this person a fully functioning individual. That is their duty, to deal with their traumas, to deal with their flaws, to deal with their mishaps, to strengthen their strengths. That is their job, right? I hate when people say, like, you're my happiness. You cannot look to somebody else to be your happiness. You have to be your happiness, and then I'm my happiness, and then we come together and we're both happy people. But I can't look to Travis and be like, yo, why are you not making me happy, bro? I'm upset right now. What are you going to do to make me happy? You can't put that on somebody else. They have their own stuff to worry about. Like you said, what do you need? What do you need? Right? And not just what do you need on the good side. What do you need to fix? Ask those questions. Why am I feeling this way? What can I do better? How can I be different? Right? So if you're going to enter into marriage, then you need to understand the magnitude of what that is. I think some of what this generation has lost, I can admit that, is the magnitude of marriage. It's so easy to say, oh, had a kid, got to do it. Oh, over 25, got to do it. I'm searching. I'm the first guy or gal that gives me a lot of attention, I'm just, yep, I'll take that one. All right, I'll take the first car I see. You took the first car you test drove, bro. If you would have test drove 4 more, literally 4 more, you would have got to the best ride in the whole lot. But you were so eager to get up out of here. You were so eager to have them keys and take that picture like, oh, I got my new car. You were so eager to take that, oh, I got a ring photo, that you didn't even vet this person. You didn't even see if they were right for you. Y'all don't even want the same stuff. You know how many times I've seen people, young people, these are young people because I don't know a lot of old people that are newly married, but I've seen people who just got married, right? They could be in their marriage maybe 2-3 years, and you're just now finding out that your partner doesn't want kids. How's that even possible, yo? I let women know that I don't want children day one, because that can be a deal breaker within 2 or 3 months. This is stuff that you have to know about people. Like you said, your wants versus your needs, right? You might want shoes, but if you have the need to be a parent, that's something you need to vet out of a person. Like, yo, do you want kids? How many? Okay, we can negotiate on that. You want 6, I want 3. We can come down to 4. That's cool. But if you don't want children and this person does, I'm sorry, but y'all probably should not try to push this. Right? Y'all probably should not try to do more with this. Y'all need to kind of let that go. Right? So Trav, I'm going to bring this to you. What do you feel was the biggest mistake that you made in trying to either vet these women, so trying to figure out whether or not they were compatible with you, or what did you have to change about yourself to be a more marryable man?
Shoot.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Slugs.
Good one. That's a good one. Man, one of my biggest mistakes was always was literally me trying to be okay with things I wasn't okay about. Basically, sure, that's fine. But in my mind, what are you doing? Hell no. Thinking, being that yes man, always trying to be basically being non-combative. Just basically, being afraid of like losing the whole relationship and everything because I wanted this person so much that I compromised and basically chipped off pieces of myself for things that I wasn't okay with. And that was literally my last relationship, where, she went to, she was in law school. And, I seen people in law school who just got married and they were on their way to get married. The thing was that they were on the same page. Then she starts bringing up excuses like, our relationship's starting to go downhill because of me being in law school. No, it's not. Cause like when she needed to study late at night, I was there with her. Even if I had to work in the morning, I was there with her. I'm a hopeless romantic like that. I'm there with you. You talking about you got to walk 50 miles, just for your class test? I'll walk it with you. I ain't even getting no credit for it, but I'm walking it with you. I ain't in the class, but I'll walk it with you. But when her classmates started to basically profess that they, had feelings for her and things like that, and they would, send her inappropriate text messages or just say inappropriate things, she didn't address it. And I'm just like, so how am I supposed to feel about this? You know what I mean? Like, younger me, I would have ran up in that classroom. What's up, bro? Whatever you got to say to her, you can say to me too. Oh, you want to grab that ass? Okay. I got fists and 2 feet for you, bro. You can get stomped out real. Like me, like I said, in a previous, last podcast, I was an emotional thinker. I was always ready to fight. Always. But it was like she would try to tell me like, you're just jealous, you don't know how to act. And I'm just like, I started to really believe that shit. Maybe I am jealous. Maybe I need to calm down. Maybe I'm just overreacting. No. It wasn't until we actually, I literally got a marriage counselor. I'm not religious myself, but I got a pastor in our apartment talking to us about our relationship. It wasn't until then that I saw that she wasn't even that serious about it. Because like when he's like asking me questions, I'm giving full dialogue. I'm going, hey, look, this is what makes me feel this way and blah, 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 and this and that. We moved here together. You know what I mean? And then like she says something totally random. Like, I just wish he was more financially stable. And I looked at her like, bro, I'm like, financially stable? And he looked at me, he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, I just wish he's more financially stable. So I got mad. I'm like, what are you talking about? I pay my part of the bills. I'm paying for all my stuff. Your parents are paying for you. And you're talking about financially stable. It was clear. She wanted a baller. Somebody who, could be like, oh, let me throw you, whatever. You can go on your vacation with your homegirls and things like that. And then it even, even her mentor was saying like negative stuff about me, and she allowed that to happen. Oh, that low life nigga that doesn't have a degree, doesn't want to do anything with his life. I never said that. And then, she allowed that exchange to happen. Then, she created other false narratives. But, from all that, I learned what my red flags are, what I'm not going to deal with, what I don't want to deal with, what I shouldn't deal with. And I'm never going to change it around and be like, men need to stand up, X, Y, and Z. It's men and women. Everybody needs to really step up and understand that this ain't what I want. You're nice. You're cool. I like your smile. I like the conversations we have. But I'm not feeling, the whole whatever it is that you may be doing. I don't like the non-communication. So I'm going to walk away. And stop thinking that you can change somebody. You can, if a person actually wants to change, they'll do it themselves. Don't do no progress report. Hey, you learn how to communicate yet?
Try to check up on them.
Right. I need a 10-page report on how to communicate. Like, stop it.
That's not it. That's definitely not it. Yeah, no. And it's good that you can look back on it and kind of, like we said, even if you were right, still take something away that you can improve on. Right? You have to understand, like, okay, if something happened to me, yes, it happened to me, but did I let it? Right? Did I do anything to prevent it? Was there anything that I could have done differently where maybe this doesn't go that way in the future? Or, like you said, sometimes you just got to walk away. And I think that's something that millennials struggle with, is being alone. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day, but people's inability to be with themselves is horrendous. COVID is showing us that, right? This quarantine is proving that people do not like their own company. And that all of this kind of goes, it's all cyclical, because that goes back to knowing yourself fully and being fully comfortable in who you are. If you're not fully comfortable in who you are, you're always going to seek attention from others. You're always going to seek shelter in others to, get away from that, right? To blind yourself. People go to work, and then they straight from work, they go get drinks. They don't want to go home. I don't want to go home till it's time to go to sleep, because I don't want to have to sit with myself and think about me.
Facts.
Yes.
And you can't take a person like that and put them in a relationship. They'll always be toxic. The marriage will always deteriorate. The percentages will always be high, because we're not putting that investment in ourselves to be like, okay, dang, why do I need a drink every day? Like multiple drinks. What am I running from? I'd asked myself that before. I used to drink a lot. Parties, all that stuff. I thought if I wasn't drinking, it wasn't going to be fun. I would always try to every weekend, like, what am I running from? Like, what is going on? Like, I'm a goofy person anyway. I don't need extra. You know what I mean? You don't need to put extra sugar on your donut. It's a sugary snack. What am I running from? So, it takes that level of, introspectiveness. I don't even know if that's a word, but you know what I'm saying. You gotta look inside, right? And be able to take some things away from, different situations, because you could have done better in every situation that you've been in. We're not perfect. There's no way that you just did everything by the book, and you can improve. And that is the only way that I see human beings to be able to be in marriages, is if accountability is there, both personally and, to that other person. Because one of the things that you said that I took was, I think that in relationships, you talk about being non-combative, I think that you guys should be able to have a healthy level of constructive criticism. I think there should be a healthy, and just like in friendships too, there's a healthy level of friction. Like when I do something that's not right, like, and Trav calls me out on it, and we might have a little argument for a couple seconds, but then at the end we kind of reel it in and we're like, okay, I get what you was trying to tell me. Like, okay, I was a little bit off kilter. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Like he's in his mood and I'm like, no, and you gotta meet him there, and it's like, no, we need to da da da, and then you get through it, and when you get through it and you get to the other side, you understand like, okay, this person was coming at me for the betterment of me. They were coming at me to make me a better person, and okay, what were they trying to say? And that could be also, you might have to, go take breathers. Maybe in your relationship, you can't do that until y'all take 5 minutes apart. Some relationships, you got to get right into it, right? It all depends on that. So to me, and that also goes back to one of the biggest reasons why I'm against marriage and why I don't think monogamy works, because a lot of people lack that ability to be able to have healthy, constructive conversations where we're really sitting here talking about, like, how can we be better? Getting better is not linear. It's not easy. It's not comfortable, right? It's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable to have somebody tell you your flaws. It's very uncomfortable to sit through someone telling you what you do that makes them uncomfortable, and then you having to be like, I got to fix that. That's not comfortable, right? So how I want to end it is any advice that you guys will have to people who want to prioritize marriage. They really want marriage. This is something that they want in their life. What would you say to them, Myles?
For somebody who really, really wants to be married, in my generation or anybody that's younger than me coming up, my first thing I would say is talk to people who have been married and talk to people who haven't been married. Now, I'm not saying go off of their information, but I'm just saying take in consideration their perspective. You need to know what a 60-year-old single person is doing. And I'm not saying find like somebody that's sad, but find somebody that's happy, that enjoy their life. You need to understand the perspective of what it could be like for you at that age. And then go talk to couples. See what you really want for yourself, just to try to understand it. But then at the end of the day, if you really do, if you're like what would you call yourself?
Hopeless romantic.
A hopeless romantic. If you are a hopeless romantic, which I do believe I am as well. Like, so what I do the stuff like that. I do the whatever you need, baby, I got you.
Right.
Like, I'm like that. So that's what I'm saying. If you are that type of person, then know what you need. So since I know who I am, I talk to people who are in relationships all the time. It doesn't change my perspective now, because I still, I told you about what I'm doing now. I'm still hesitant, but I always look at older couples or even young couples, and I just ask them questions, random questions. I don't never let them know that I'm interested in doing something like that right now, but I just always I want to meet happy people, truly happy people, who been in it for years. My auntie and my uncle. This is real life, y'all. My auntie and my uncle have 5 kids. All of them are older than me. And my auntie and my uncle have been together since they were in 7th grade. And my auntie just had cancer last year, and my uncle was working at the airport and taking her to every doctor's appointment. He was doing anything. He even took off his job for a few months just to make sure she was taken care of. Their family in general are like this, but them two, they are the perfect example of something I would say, man, like it was deeper than that contract. You know what I mean? Like 7th grade, that was your best friend. Yeah, like they have stories of like doing kid stuff together, not high school stuff, not when you're going to parties and stuff like that. They have memories of doing kid stuff together. So love like that, which I still think is possible for somebody my age to find, but first just evaluate yourself and know what you want. Like my man right here, he knows for sure that he's not with marriage, but I know he knows what love is, and I know he knows that in his perspective, love is so much deeper than the pictures that people are trying to frame it to be. Like, it's not all that. Love to me is this. Love to him is your parents respectively being apart and understanding that, but your dad for years still keeping up that load. That's love. That's love on another level that I feel like our generation of men don't understand yet. That's what I feel like is true love. And so for anybody out there, man, I'll put it like this. My advice, love can come in any shape. It's not just between like 2 people being in a relationship. Love can be a friend forever taking care of another friend. and that's a bond that lasts for a long time. So it comes in many different forms. Just be aware of it around you and take notes, man. Because that's all I ever did. I took notes and I just wanted to see what real love looked like.
There you go.
There you
Trap,
go.
got some advice for the people.
It's gonna be hard to follow up. But I think that to prioritize marriage is like it's the same thing. You need to, when you're looking at a relationship or a potential partner, don't think about what you're gonna get from it. Think about what you are gonna be able to do for it. What can you bring to the table? You know what I mean? And how you're going to maintain yourself and making sure that, just like you said, like how that other person is making sure that they have everything that they need for themselves. And you know, how you talked about your parents' relationship, that's really dope. I got a friend, actually I was at a Cheesecake Factory with her yesterday. Kiana, we've been good friends for like 3 years now. And she told me about her parents. Same thing. Her parents got divorced early, and she was an only child. She told me this. Her parents literally had her sister because she asked for it, for her sister. People have to understand that, and that's very selfless. If you're thinking about being selfish, if you like being selfish, stay selfish by yourself. Don't be with anyone else. And as I said before, it's not about you anymore. It's about your children. And then they were just like, okay, you want a sister? We'll give you a sister. And then they still take care of each other till this day, even though they're not under that contract anymore. That's how it should be. But, you know, like me, I use my parents as if I'm using this correctly, a precursor of what to do and what not to do. My mom and dad got married not under a basis of the fact that they loved each other. It was just, this is what you're supposed to do because of religion. My dad was not fit for my mom, and my mom was not fit for my dad. All right? But they only had what they had in common was their flaws. And, you know, that only got you so far. You just, like you said, the baby tiger growing up into a bigger tiger. And my mom quickly realized that this is not the man for me. And, you know, everybody else just needs to literally, you prioritize that marriage. You lay out everything. Your non-negotiables. The first date, that's what it should be. Don't be concerned about laughing or what we about to eat at. You know what I mean? So you need to literally evaluate this person. It's an interview. All right? How many kids you want? What is your stance on, you know what I mean, like me not wanting children? Non-negotiables, everything, all that should be laid out, because it sucks to realize that you've wasted time and invested so much energy into this person, and then damn, later on, like years down the line, just like you said, you don't want kids. What did I get myself into? So prioritize. If you are interested in courting someone, if you are interested in wanting to be with someone, you need to do your research on this person. You need to find out what are their likes, dislikes. What kind of trauma do they come from? You know what I mean? What kind of upbringing do they have? Pay attention to all the signs. Do not turn a blind eye to them, because they will become worse down the line. So, that's the best thing that I have. And, you know, understanding is always key. You know, communication. A lot of people do not like to communicate. I don't understand that. But communication is literally key.
Well, I want to thank you, brothers, for coming on. That's going to do it, guys, for this episode of the Raw Daddy Hour. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank my brothers for coming on, and we'll catch you on the next one.